and everyone's heard about probate. And a lot of families have experienced probate. You asked, do I handle probate? The short answer is yes, but I'm getting away from that.
Okay.
Because I find that the probate process for me at this stage of my career is about as exciting as watching paint dry. And it's a lengthy process. I focus my practice on avoiding probate for families because I know it's a long, tedious process. It's expensive, completely public, and is a very inefficient way to pass property on after someone passes away.
It's super emotional, and you know, the thing that I deal with are people that, you know, they're so emotionally caught up with their parent dying, and now they're left with having to deal with this. What do I do? And there's so many unanswered questions, and sure, there's checklists, but who can you trust and who do you do? And you know, it's just all these questions, and I totally agree with you. It's
Well,
but
I can tell you doing probate administration, which is basically the court supervised administration and ultimate distribution of someone's estate after they've died. It is substantively very similar to trust administration, which is administering a trust that someone had prepared ahead of time after they've died. A lot of the same steps are taken. The primary difference has to do with procedurally when are the steps taken and how quickly they can be taken. In a probate administration, just to give you a little timeline, California has the most complicated probate administration process in the country. There's some states where someone dies, you can file for probate and be done with it in a month. A month. Okay, like boom, A to Z, you're done. Everything's distributed, people go on with their lives. So that's kind of, from an estate planning standpoint, that's the functional equivalent of, we're gonna just rip that Band-Aid right off and let it heal. In California, they're gonna slowly tear the Band-Aid off over months. So people get to experience the joy and the pain for months, waiting until the court finally says you can distribute everything to the people who may have been desperately needing that money for the last several months, but they're stuck. Here in California, to commence a probate, and now in this time we're dealing with the coronavirus, probates now, pretty much the courts here in Santa Clara County and in San Mateo County, where I also practice in the probate courts there, everything has to be filed electronically. It used to be you could walk down with your papers, stand in line, talk to a clerk, get a court date, earliest available court date, fill it out on the papers, file the papers, walk out, and then you know, okay, I've got my court date in 2 months. Now, you can't, and that was the beauty. I could actually, even better, I could actually call the court, talk with the clerk at the time, Manny, who always called me Attorney Bergman. You can probably guess where Manny was from originally, just because he addressed me as attorney all the time. It's an honorific. But I would ask Manny, I'd say, Manny, I'm getting ready to start a new probate. What's the earliest date? And he'd tell me the date. I'd fill it out on my paperwork, and he'd reserve me on the court calendar. It's like making a reservation at a restaurant. Well, you're reserved on May 25th at 9:00 a.m. in Department 10. So thank you, Manny. Then I'd finish my paperwork, which might be a couple weeks to gather information, put it together, and then I would file it and file the notice of hearing and tell everybody who's entitled to come. That would save time. Now I can't file for probate until every piece of paperwork's completed and ready to be filed. And then I can get a court date. So right now, the process of going to e-filing has actually made the probate process longer and more complicated than it was before.